Welcome to the Teacher's Instructional video for DPAS 2. This is a companion to the DPAS 2 printed guide for teachers. It provides an additional tool for learning the Delaware Performance Appraisal System 2. Before we begin, let's learn how to use this video. If you are already familiar with the introduction, just skip to the next section. Ideally, the video should be watched with your DPAS 2 printed guide open for reference and note-taking. There are several ways to access the video, but it's best to load it onto your own computer, either from the DPAS 2 website or the DVD. Note that the videos are divided into short chapters so that individual topics can be viewed without searching through the whole video. To watch a video, click on the link to the video you want. The player will automatically open on your computer screen in either Windows Media Player or Apple QuickTime. There are slight differences between the player controls depending on whether you use QuickTime or Windows Media Player, but both have the same features. You can control the video with the play, pause, rewind, and fast forward buttons. Sliding the button on the progress bar moves you quickly to specific places in the video. The player time clock helps you mark a place if you want to review it later. Just note the time in your guide. To help you find your place in the guide, at the bottom of the video screen, guide page numbers are referenced, especially when there is additional material to view in the guide. That's it for the nuts and bolts. Let's move on to the subject matter. This video is divided into two main sections: components and the specific activities in the process, including forms, conferences, and observations. The respected professional development program, based on the book Enhancing Professional Practice, A Framework for Teaching, 2nd edition, by Charlotte Danielson, is the conceptual basis of DPAS 2. It has been modified by the Delaware DOE for a special emphasis on student improvement, the primary purpose of our professional development efforts. DPAS 2 for teachers consists of 5 components: planning and preparation, classroom environment, instruction, professional responsibilities, and student improvement. Component 1, planning and preparation, includes the following 4 elements. Selecting instructional goals. The teacher selects instructional goals that are aligned with the Delaware content standards and the district or charter school's curricula. Goals are appropriate for the learners and reflect high expectations for all students, consistent with state assessment levels of performance where applicable. Designing coherent instruction. The teacher plans for learning activities that align with the instructional goals and support student learning. Instructional planning shows the structure and selection of materials and activities that support student learning relative to the district or charter school's curricula. Demonstrating knowledge of content and pedagogy. The teacher shows his or her knowledge of content and how to teach it to a variety of learners. The teacher's plans include natural connections among content areas that deepen student learning. The content that he or she teaches is aligned to the district or charter school's curricula. And demonstrating knowledge of students. The teacher shows his or her knowledge of student developmental characteristics, approaches to learning, knowledge, and skills, interests, cultural heritage, and where applicable, state assessment performance levels. Component 1 is designed to show how a teacher selects and organizes the content to be taught. More information about the importance of Component 1, including potential evidence used to demonstrate proficiency, is on page 5 of your guide. Component 2. Classroom environment includes these 4 elements. Managing classroom procedures. The teacher has clearly defined procedures for managing learning time, transitions between learning events, and routines that maximize learning time. Managing student behavior. The teacher establishes behavioral expectations and consequences and monitors student conduct. The teacher responds to student behavior in appropriate and effective ways to minimize disruptions. Creating an environment to support learning. The teacher creates an atmosphere in which learning is valued. Teacher to student and student to student interactions show rapport that is grounded in mutual respect. And organizing physical space. The teacher organizes, allocates, and manages physical space to create a safe learning environment. The teacher uses physical resources to contribute to effective instruction and makes resources accessible to all students. Page 7 of your guide has more detail about the importance of Component 2 and examples of potential evidence that support it. Component 3, Instruction, includes engaging students in learning. Content is appropriate, clear, and linked to student knowledge and experience. Content is aligned with the district or charter school's curricula. Activities and assignments engage all students. Instructional materials are suitable to the instructional goals. The instruction is coherent and paced appropriately for all students. Demonstrating flexibility and responsiveness. The teacher has a repertoire of instructional strategies and makes use of them to make modifications to lessons as needed. The teacher differentiates instruction based on learner characteristics and achievement data. Communicating clearly and accurately. Verbal and written communication is clear and appropriate to the students' ages, backgrounds, and levels of understanding. Using questioning and discussion techniques. Questions are appropriate to the content and level of students' understanding. The teacher encourages students to pose their own questions and is responsive to student questions. The teacher facilitates student-led discussions. See page 9 for additional notes about teaching methods and a list of potential evidence appropriate for this component. Component 4, Professional Responsibilities, deals with activities not directly related to classroom teaching in these 4 areas. Communicating with family. The teacher shares information about the school's educational program and expectations for student performance. The teacher develops a mechanism for two-way communication with families about student progress, behavior, and personal needs or concerns. Developing a student record system. The teacher keeps records of attendance, disciplinary actions, emergency contact information, and personal information. The teacher shares relevant information with appropriate school personnel. Growing and developing professionally. The teacher chooses and participates in professional development that is aligned with his or her professional needs and aligned with the needs of the school, district or charter school, or students. Reflecting on professional practice. The teacher engages in reflective thinking as an individual, as a team participant, or as a school community member with the goal of improving instruction and learning for all students. Pages 11 and 12 of your guide include additional notes on the importance of Component 4, communication and record keeping, professional development, and reflective thinking. Be sure to read that material, as well as the list of potential evidence for Component 4. Component 5, Student improvement is the primary purpose of DPAS 2. Its 4 elements are: showing student improvement. The teacher uses school goals from the school improvement process to set his or her annual data-driven goal or goals for student improvement. Data used to establish goals shall include school accountability data, state assessment data, district assessment, and classroom-based assessment data where available. Aligning assessments to teacher data-driven goals. The teacher uses assessments and scoring criteria that accurately measure progress towards the student improvement goal or goals. Measuring student improvement. The teacher has specific measurable evidence to show progress towards or attainment of the goal or goals for student improvement. Reflecting on student improvement. The teacher reflects on the goal-setting process and outcomes for the purpose of continuous professional improvement and shares student improvement information with other staff as appropriate. Pages 13, 14, and 15 in the Teacher Guide explore in detail the importance of Component 5, the assessment process, and potential evidence of accomplishment in student improvement. Section 2, the process section, covers the specific activities required by DPAS 2 and how they are scheduled. DPAS 2 is a continuous process of professional improvement, which may entail a 1- or 2-year cycle. The time periods are suggestions, and you should refer to the guide for specific language regarding when any part of this process must be completed. There are 3 categories of activities: completion of forms, conferences, and observations. The forms in DPAS 2 are the goal form, pre-observation form, formative feedback form, professional responsibilities form, summative evaluation form, recommendations for an improvement plan form, and improvement plan form. The conferences are goal-setting conference, pre-observation conference, post-observation conference, summative evaluation conference, improvement plan conference. The final activity group is observation. Depending on your status and experience, observations can range from 1 every year to 2 or more each year. We'll see more detail about observation later. These 3 groups of activities, forms, conferences, and observations, are spread through the school year, generally beginning in the first month and ending in the last. Since every teacher participates in the evaluation process, the scheduling was made flexible, providing a wide window to complete the activities. The DPAS 2 appraisal cycle is on page 17 of the guide. It provides a general illustration of the activities and when they should occur throughout the year. The specific activities are grouped within 4 topic areas: goal setting, observation and feedback, professional responsibilities reporting, and summative evaluation. Check guide pages 18 through 20 for the specific activities required in each topic area. We'll look at each activity more closely now, beginning with number 1, goal setting. Setting goals for student improvement is an important part of every educator's work. Clear, measurable goals provide a roadmap for teachers and students and enable the teacher to plan lessons and activities that help to ensure the achievement of the goals. Goals serve 2 purposes in the DPAS 2 system. Specific goals inform the planning and preparation component and guide the teacher's development of a plan for learning for all students. Goals set forth for Component 5 help integrate all 5 components of DPAS 2 into a cohesive system. The first activity is school-wide goal setting. Goals should be aligned with the district strategic plan, the school improvement plan, and perhaps team goals. The teacher and evaluator should discuss if the goals are realistic and measurable, how the educator plans to gather data, what the data will look like, and if the goal has been met. In some cases, optional team goal-setting meetings will set student improvement goals for grade levels, departments, or curricular teams. Individual teacher goal setting establishes personal student improvement goals aligned with the school or team goals. The teacher goal form is the first form required in the DPAS 2 process. Completing this form is a 2-part procedure. The first part is completed in the fall of each year. The second part is completed in the spring. When filled out as a Microsoft Word document, the text input space automatically increases when needed, including adding more pages. We recommend completing all forms in the Word document format. The forms may also be printed and the paper version filled out by hand. Additional blank pages may be added if you need more space. After completing the first part of the goal form and submitting it to the evaluator, the teacher meets with the evaluator to briefly discuss the teacher's student improvement goals. Page 23 of the guide includes possible evaluator questions for this conference. Throughout the year, teachers should monitor progress toward goal achievement and gather appropriate evidence. At any point, the teacher may request a meeting with the evaluator to discuss preliminary findings. In the spring, the teacher completes Part 2 of the goal form, analyzing students' progress, and provides a copy to the evaluator. The teacher may attach artifacts, such as classroom assessments, school achievement tests, and other documents as evidence of student improvement. The evaluator uses this information to provide feedback on Component 5, Student Improvement, during the teacher's summative evaluation. While achievement of the goals is desirable, total attainment is not required for a satisfactory rating on Component 5. Emphasis is on reflecting on practice, understanding, and adjusting to accomplish improvement. At the beginning of the next school year, teachers will review this information and consider follow-up as part of the process of setting student improvement goals for the coming year. Even when teachers are on a 2-year cycle, they will develop goals and monitor progress on them each year. Next, we'll review the second area of DPAS 2, observation and formative feedback. Observation provides a view of teacher practice and the opportunity to collect evidence to assess performance. It's like a snapshot taken by watching teaching, collecting evidence, and providing feedback on what is observed. In some cases, one observation is sufficient to clearly see the teacher's practice, but sometimes multiple snapshots are necessary. Guide page 25 includes a list of observation key concepts. Pause the video now to review them. An especially important concept is whether an observation is announced or unannounced. In some cases, the teacher knows that the evaluator will observe in their classroom, but in others, there is no advance notification. The quality of practice should be consistent in both situations. An announced observation is a means for the teacher and evaluator to discuss the context and plans for the lesson to be observed prior to its implementation. It is strongly recommended that the first observation be announced. An unannounced observation is an unscheduled opportunity for an evaluator to watch a teacher in action. The evaluator relies solely on direct observation of events to examine the teacher's practice during the observation period. Teachers are expected to conduct business as usual in the classroom. Next, let's look at the actual observation activities. In the case of an announced observation, the first step is completing the pre-observation form and giving it to the evaluator, who will schedule the pre-observation conference as close as possible to the observation. A copy of the detailed lesson plan for the lesson to be observed must be attached to the pre-observation form. The pre-observation conference should be held in the teacher's classroom, where supplemental materials are available and the physical space can be examined. During the conference, the teacher and evaluator will refer to the lesson plan for the discussion topics, like how it fits into the teacher's overall goal, if applicable, the standard or standards the lesson is designed to address, any unique issues the class presents, or other lesson-related issues. Now, on to the actual observation. Evaluators should spend at least 30 minutes in the classroom. They may sit at the back of the room or move around, look at the work, learn how the students interact in groups, observe the use of classroom space, and even ask them questions. Some evaluators take notes by hand, others use laptops. Soon after the observation, a post-observation conference should be held. The post-observation conference provides an opportunity for the evaluator and the teacher to discuss the observation and the teacher's performance. This conference should be held in the teacher's classroom, again to facilitate access to supplemental information and examine the organization of the space. It's a valuable opportunity for rich discussion where educators can freely discuss building or enhancing skills necessary for student improvement. On Guide page 30, you can view a list of possible evaluator questions for the post-observation conference. The final step in the observation area is completing the formative feedback form. After the conference, the evaluator writes a narrative on the formative feedback form, that describes the teacher's performance based on the observation, discussion, and any additional material. The narrative should simply verify what was discussed at the conference, with the aim of helping to plan future goals and professional growth options, and helping the teacher reflect on his or her practice. More details about the formative feedback form are available on pages 30 and 31 in the guide, including a process for responding to the form if necessary. This wraps up the observation portion of the process. You should pause the video and review this section, including the possible evaluator questions for the post-observation conference. Professional responsibilities include most professional activities a teacher does outside the classroom: communicating with students and families, maintaining student records, pursuing personal professional development, and working with school staff on whole school improvement. This part of the DPAS-2 process consists only of completing the professional responsibilities form. It should be completed by January 31st. The information provided on the professional responsibilities form and any additional information presented during the summative conference is used by the evaluator in the summative evaluation. Additional points to consider regarding professional responsibility evaluation include: be aware that responsibilities change during the appraisal cycle, and teachers may need to update their activities list. This is the teacher's opportunity to inform the evaluator of all those activities the teacher does that the evaluator may not be aware of. Be sure to review the professional responsibilities information when preparing for the summative conference, and feel free to provide artifacts and discuss other aspects of professional responsibilities at the summative conference. The fourth and final area of the DPAS-2 process is summative evaluation. The summative evaluation occurs at the end of the evaluation cycle. It may be yearly or every other year, depending upon a teacher's experience and evaluation status. Using the information from the observation process and additional elements, it determines a teacher's overall performance rating. The first step is the summative evaluation conference, followed by completion of the summative evaluation form. At the summative evaluation conference, the evaluator shares overall impressions of a teacher's practice as it relates to DPAS-2's 5 conceptual components. Teachers also have the opportunity to share their impressions. It's an opportunity for a rich conversation between evaluator and teacher. Concepts can be clarified and additional information from the teacher is welcomed. The purpose is to create an accurate picture of the teacher's performance and to share thoughts on future plans for the classroom or for professional development. A productive summative conference involves compiling all of the evidence relevant to the teacher's performance that has been generated throughout the appraisal cycle. The evaluation conference may include follow-up discussion on goals, clarification of issues, other ways to collect data throughout the year, and other written documentation shared with the teacher during the course of the appraisal cycle. It may also begin the goal-setting process for the upcoming year. More details about the summative evaluation conference can be found on guide page 34, including possible questions that may be asked by an evaluator. The evaluator will indicate during the conference the component ratings and the overall summative rating that will appear on the summative evaluation form. The summative evaluation form provides written feedback about the performance of the teacher related to all 5 components of DPAS-2. Its content is based on evidence from observations, conferences, artifacts presented, and forms completed by both teachers and evaluators. Other evidence, including written communications to the teacher during the appraisal cycle, may be included. The summative evaluation form is a written record of the conversation during the summative evaluation conference, so there should be no surprises for the teacher. The actual evaluation rating considers all 5 components in DPAS-2. The form has space for a narrative basis for the rating. The evaluator rates each component as satisfactory or unsatisfactory. On the last page, there is a space for commendations and/or recommended areas of growth. The overall evaluation rating considers all 5 components in DPAS 2. The final summative evaluation is marked either effective, needs improvement, or ineffective. The completed form should be given to the teacher within 15 days of the summative conference. If the teacher disagrees with any feedback on the summative evaluation form, he or she may add additional information and/or request a second conference to discuss their concerns. Now let's look closer at the ratings process. The first rating, effective, means that the teacher has received satisfactory ratings in at least 4 of the 5 evaluated components. Needs improvement means that the teacher has received 3 out of 5 satisfactory ratings. And ineffective means that the teacher has received 2 or fewer satisfactory ratings. Page 37 in your guide includes a detailed component and summative ratings chart that shows the follow-up activities for each summative rating. A pattern of ineffective teaching chart also appears on that page. Now, we'll take a brief look at improvement plans. Improvement plans are developed to help teachers focus on areas where they need extra assistance. Several conditions can trigger an improvement plan. For specific details, see Guide page 38. The process includes 1 or more meetings between the teacher and the evaluator. Completion by both the teacher and the evaluator of a recommendation for an improvement plan form, and then collaboratively completing the improvement plan form to develop the most effective plan possible. Both parties should ensure that the plan includes reasonable timelines, indicators of completion, and opportunities for discussing progress toward completion. For more details on the improvement plan process, see page 38 in your guide. Sometimes, a teacher will disagree with the evaluator's ratings and may file a challenge. It is desirable to resolve differences with the evaluator directly, but if that is not possible, there is a procedure available to challenge the feedback. See Guide page 40. This completes the DPAS 2 instructional video for teachers. Remember, this video is available online and can be downloaded to any computer for personal review. The entire printed DPAS 2 guide for teachers is also available online for viewing or printing. The materials may be updated as requirements and regulations adjust for current educational conditions and trends. For more information on professional development opportunities and support, contact your local district or the Delaware Department of Education. We wish you the greatest success in your learning community and are happy to assist with your efforts toward professional development, continuous improvement, and quality assurance in Delaware public education.